Good people, what's rockin'? You're now tuned in. OG Sonny Blanco, I got a story to tell you, heard? And today, we're going to get into the story of a real N.W.A. No, not the famous rap group from Cali, but a person who was truly a nigga with an attitude. The real Django, who slung money and power like the slave version slung a gun. The first black millionaire in America. No, not Madam C.J. Walker as we was taught. She didn't become a millionaire until 1913. The reason why we know Madam Walker is the first is because this guy was blackballed and X'd out of history until recently. Good people, let me introduce you to no other than Jermiah Hamilton, also known as Jerry Hamilton, and the Prince of Darkness, all by his haters as Nigga Hamilton, who came into his millions in the 1830s. Now, good people, let's take a look at the time frame. Again, we're talking about the 1830s, which was a great time in America for industrial, architectural, engineering, and financial. During this era, you have a list of the who's who. Documentaries have been made about these great men. One of my favorites being The Men That Made America, featuring John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, J.P. Morgan, and Cornelius Vanderbilt. Sideline: Vanderbilt is the great-great-grandfather of the famous designer Gloria Vanderbilt, who in return is the mother of Anderson Cooper, the famous news anchor. Hey yo, money run deep, right? That's what you call generational wealth. But back to the story. The one thing these men all had in common was shrewdness. Not just your average shrewdness, but cutthroat shrewdness. It has been said, to be a great businessman, you have to possess a supreme ability of shrewdness. These men were looked at as great businessmen, as pillars of society. As the title of the documentary suggests, The Men That Made America. Cornelius Vanderbilt went to court many of times, either suing or being sued by Jermiah. We'll get into that a little later. Mr. Vanderbilt once was quoted as saying in his obituary, "There was only one man who fought the Commodore to the end, and that was Jermiah Hamilton." The tycoon said that he didn't fear Hamilton because he feared no one, but he respected Hamilton. Jermiah G. Hamilton. For the record, no one knows what the G stands for. Born 1806 or 1807 in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Now, his childhood is sketchy, not a lot of info, but he first came into prominence in 1828 at the age of 18 or 19. Jermiah was a young hustler, a real hustler. If this was today's time, Jermiah would be getting to a heavy bag. He had a ring running, transporting large cargo of counterfeit coins to Haiti for a group of New York merchants. The Haitian authorities found out and put a bounty on Jermiah's head for the sum of $300 for anyone that brought Hamilton forth. The charge was punishable by death. After a 2-week hideout on fishing boats in Port-au-Prince Harbor, somehow Jermiah managed to escape. Jermiah fled to New York with $5,000 worth of the counterfeit coins. Now to my hustlers, all my hustlers know 5 stacks, that's good startup money, you heard? Especially back then. 5 stacks, that's like 50 stacks now. Making his name known and his presence felt, news reached the black community fast as to this brass Haitian flaunting himself amongst town. The uppity blacks viewed Hamilton's exploits as tarnishing the hard work they've done to establish reputations worthy of respect in the community. Freedom Journal, the first black newspaper ever, condemned Hamilton's behavior as disgraceful. But on the other hand, James Gordon Sr. of the New York Herald once said that Jerry Hamilton was one of the most remarkable men of his race. For almost a decade, He was quietly waiting for his big moment to break out at NYC. And then, in 1835, his opportunity came in the form of a fire, which was dubbed the Great Fire of New York, destroying most of the buildings on the southeast tip of Manhattan. Now, what I'm about to tell you, good people, some may call bad business practice or low standards, ethically or morally. But, on the other hand, some may just call it business. Hamilton took advantage of the moment and seized the opportunity off insurance schemes to the equivalent of $5 million in today's money. He took the profit and invested it into real estate, buying up properties in Astoria, Queens for the total of 47 lots. He even bought property in Poughkeepsie. His next venture was merchant vessel shipping. Now, I told you he was a hustler, right? Watch this. Jermiah over-insured his ships. On the low, he had a team in the cut that would set the joints on fire and sink them, collecting their insurance money. I told you, old boy was a hustler. He was on top of his game. I keep telling you, youngins, nothing new under the sun. Old boy was scamming in the 1830s, early. You think that stopped Jermiah? You think Jermiah was done there? Come on, good people, off to the next money getter. And that next money getter was Wall Street. Jermiah became a beast on Wall Street, literally. He swarmed through Wall Street like the Wu Killer Bees or something. He was savvy, he was relentless, and most importantly, he was supremely cutthroat. The Prince of Darkness tactics were so impressive that he started, I repeat, good people, he started the first hedge fund ever. Investors pooled their money and entrusted it to Jermiah, totally at his discretion to invest in whatever he wanted to invest in. And good people, let me tell you, good old Jermiah did very well for the investors as well as himself. But back up, again, watch the time frame, good people. This is antebellum America. This is antebellum New York. These are white men giving large sums of money and trust to a black man to use at his discretion with no interference to invest. Now tell me something wasn't tougher than Shaft, right? But as haters do, those that wasn't getting money with Hamilton were of course jelly and salty, hence the name Prince of Darkness. And when they was really on one, nigga Hamilton. Racist haters couldn't stand the fact that a black man came into their world and dominated. But Jermiah, being the G he was, cared less. Son rocked out, you heard? His hedge fund profit got the word out, and more men wanted to invest. This is when Jerry started smelling himself, right? Jerry had all the new people that wanted to invest just for the idea, just for the thought of joining his team. The entry fee was the finest cases of champagne and 600 of the top brand cigars. Jermiah made it clear that he only wanted the best. Now, let's not get it wrong. I told you he was shrewd. I told you Vanderbilt and Hamilton were in court many of times. Needless to say, he was no stranger to the court of law. Hamilton passed off his debts to his clients and stashed the profit, which landed him in court more often than not. This stopping nothing. Jermiah kept doing him. It fazed him none the least. He was swift in court with the top lawyers. In the mid-1850s, Cornelius Vanderbilt and Jermiah G. Hamilton would face off in court like Jack Johnson versus Jack Dempsey. They both wanted control over the accessory transit company. This war gained the admiration of the Commodore Cornelius Vanderbilt, as he stated in his obituary. To add to the hatred, Hamilton married a young Caucasian lady by the name of Eliza Jane Morris. This union birthed 2 daughters. This man's story is amazing, so much that the actor Don Cheadle has acquired the rights to the story of Hamilton for the big screen. Jermiah G. Hamilton, a man who played the game with the best of them, a black man who became a tycoon in a time when all odds were against him, a pillar of Wall Street, a hustler's hustler. Salute.